Let's go. Ride the train you came in on. It's all good.
When did you cross over where like you realized all of a sudden you were famous?
Dude, like Michael Jackson can get your phone number. Just know that.
He literally just called you out of the blue. Now, were you funny growing up?
We called it the Jonesin', right? People feel like they know me already, and I use that as a tool.
Have you ever totally bombed?
I had a night at a show where it was so bad, I offered people their money back. Steve walked up there and cussed them out. And I mean, they laughed so hard, Carlos.
Hey family, welcome to the show. Hey listen, if you're in a laughing mood today, we have a terrific one for you. One of the original kings of comedy is here to bring the house down. That's right, Cedric The Entertainer is here. Also coming up, I'm gonna introduce you to Mandy Price. Now she's the co-founder and CEO of Canaries and a member of Hennessy's Never Stop, Never Settle Society. More on that in a bit. You're gonna love meeting her. But first, my main man, Cedric The Entertainer. He's turned his love of comedy into one hell of a career, killed it on stages all over the world, and in fact, he's used that exposure and talent to build himself an incredible film and television resume. Of course, I'm talking about projects like The Steve Harvey Show, Barbershop, The Soul Man, and his latest, the hit CBS sitcom, The Neighborhood. For more, this is your 2021 Emmy host, Cedric The Entertainer.
The Carlos Watson Show is brought to you by American Family Insurance.
Hey, Cedric.
What's up, my brother? How you doing?
Hey, man, you're looking young.
Yeah, man, you know what I'm saying? I got a few little injections.
Okay, all right, you're not afraid. Hollywood is treating you right. I love it. Hey, you know what? Don't laugh because a couple of us are starting to get them.
You recognize it, like, you know, age is real, but, you know, normally black don't crack, but, you know, it's been showing some fault lines lately.
That is the good way to say it. What did you do for the summer?
Mainly trying to create and produce other shows. We had, you know, the success of the show coming out on Bounce, and then then I produced a little summertime show that I do for myself for CBS, the Greatest at Home videos.
Yes.
And so we did some more of those this summer.
Right now, we're all about that joy, that aspiration, that motivating factor to say, hey, life is worth living, get up and go for it. And you just don't want to miss what the human spirit has the ability to do. We got it right here on this show.
Am I projecting, or are you someone who likes to stay busy?
I would say it's a little bit of the Midwest upbringing, and I lived in a single-parent household. My mom was a school teacher, and it was my younger sister. And so as the male, you know, I felt like it was kind of like instilled to be active, to be a participant. So I even look at my job even like that to this day, you know, even though it comes with celebrity and recognition. I really look at it like a guy who's getting up to go to work. I don't really like, oh, I'm famous, you know. So people like, yo, man, how you so humble all the time, so chill? I'm like, dude, I've just got a job. That's the way I look at it.
When did you cross over where like you realized all of a sudden you were famous?
A couple times. One is I won a comedy competition in Chicago, and they put me in Jet magazine, bro.
Okay, I remember Jet.
Come on now.
Yep.
Now I don't know what people need as far as fame, but to be in Jet in the hood was like a whole situation. And then the next time that I really felt like really famous was after the Bud Light commercials I did in the Super Bowl.
I got too lost for that fire.
With a great taste that won't fill you up and never let you down. Make it a Bud Light.
That's not that bad.
I've been on television, I've done movies, but you don't realize how much impact a commercial is basically on 10 times, 12 times in the day. So your opportunity for exposure is crazy. So it was like people seeing me in the airports and stopping me, and I was like, yo, I'm out here now. That's crazy.
What's the best thing that's ever happened as a result of being famous?
One, Michael Jackson called me at my house one day. I don't know how he had my number or nothing, but I was sitting at home. I just had my son, who's about to be 21 now, so I was holding him like a baby. And I get a call, and it was like, Cedric The Entertainer, and I was like, yes. He was like, you have a call from Michael Jackson. And I was like, what? And I'm thinking it's a joke. And then he was like, hey, man, how you doing? I was like, yo, that's crazy.
He literally just called you out of the blue.
Dude, Like Michael Jackson can get your phone number. Just know that. He had liked the movie Johnson Family Vacation and wanted to tell me to keep that kind of comedy up. He was, being from Indiana, that all made sense, that traveling with your family to go visit family. So he loved that movie. That was one of those moments I say come with being famous.
Give me another one. What else came with being famous?
We were shooting the Steve Harvey show, and Halle Berry's dressing room was across the hall from mine. She was getting ready to go do some other show, and she was coming out the door to go to the set, and I stopped her, and I said, "How you doing?" And I said, "Look at me just for a second. Do you feel anything?" Carlos, I'm talking about, dude, I remind you of a cousin. I don't care. Whatever it is, I'm using that to get in. I don't need it to be nothing special, but do you feel anything as you look at me?
Hey, you know what? I have not been that creative. I need to be more creative. You just expanded my catalog.
Everybody going for the romance. I'm dealing with whatever emotion comes out first. I'm willing to take the long road, is what I'm saying.
Oh, man. Oh, I love that.
The Our Home is the training ground for her dreams policy. Insure carefully. Dream fearlessly.
Thing about my son, he like the little mixed girls. He like the girls that like half black, half white, little curly hair. That's his thing, And he gonna go out on a date, he gonna tell me, take them to the movies. I'm like, cool. Next thing you know, he hop in the back seat with her. I'm like, when the hell I turn into an Uber driver, goddamn. I'm saying the damn entertainer. Somebody better get up here with me, goddamn. I ain't doing it.
How did you get into comedy in the first place? Because that wasn't your first job, was it?
I had many jobs. I went to college, graduated Southeast Missouri State in Cape Girardeau. And, I worked in radio for a minute. I sold fax machines for the Ricoh Corporation for a minute. When they were new, that was a new technology. I was considered selling spaceships at the time. People were like, what are you talking about? Right. And then was working at State Farm and, basically transitioned into comedy at night, like most people trying to just find your way in life, young man. The first time I ever did comedy, another comedian basically worked me through my set, told me how to do it, basically taught me how to be a professional. Right. And then I won $500 the first time I ever did it. So I was hooked.
You know how white people are when they try to get you to feel comfortable, man? Be saying all the wrong stuff, talking about, you know what, Cedric? I like black people. Hell, I got a pair of black boots. I got a black pickup truck. I even got a colored TV.
Now, were you funny growing up?
Well, we used to call in St. Louis, we called it the Jonesing, right? Like, you got me Jonesing. So, in the lunchroom, we had 3 lunch shifts. You had first lunch, second lunch, third lunch. I was on third lunch, but the kids from first lunch would be like, yo, like, come trying to get me out of class. They be like, yo, man, you gotta come down here and get on boy today, man. He been killing us.
Now, did they call you the entertainer back then or no?
Hollywood. I had relatives out here as a kid, so we would come and visit. And I had a t-shirt that said Hollywood on it that obviously now in retrospect, I must have wore it quite a bit. Right. Because it became my nickname. Right. All even to the point that my kids and peers would call my mom Miss Wood. They didn't even know my name. I was really like Hollywood. People would like come up and be like, how you doing, Miss Wood? See, like, who are they talking about?
Now, how did it switch to Cedric the Entertainer?
Well, that name kind of came about as I started to really, do comedy more professionally. I was doing a show one night and the guy was introducing everybody as the next comedian. And I was like, I just wasn't comfortable with being considered a comedian. I told him to call me an entertainer. He introduced me as Cedric the Entertainer. I went up, I had a great show. And then when I came off, he called me Cedric the Entertainer again. So I just kept I've been asked throughout my career, especially early on, to change it. Everybody thought like it was too big of a name to take on. I definitely had agents, that would be like, nobody's doing like the big names anymore. Everybody's going by their real family surnames. But, for me, it wasn't even a name I gave myself. I embraced it for that reason. Like, I'm this guy when I'm doing those jokes.
White people like space movies. Black people don't really do space like that. White people love space movies. They love movies about the moon and Mars where they can be leaving our ass down here on Earth. That's what they think. They think they're gonna leave us down here on Earth. They gonna move to the moon. Ain't gonna happen. Y'all move to the moon, damn it, we coming to the moon.
So what would have happened, Cedric, if you hadn't made it, do you think?
I was working at State Farm, but I always, even then I had an entrepreneurial kind of spirit. Like I always found little hustles and, kind of business ideas. So I think I would have, maybe found my way into some kind of business. Probably maybe would have found my way back into the, the news area or something like that, or sports announcing, I don't know. But I studied that kind of stuff in college. And had an opportunity to work for a CBS affiliate when I first graduated, doing like fun news. Maybe I would have had Kevin Frazier's job.
Most interesting thing you've learned about dreaming fearlessly? Because so many people, Cedric, want to dream fearlessly. It's hard, it's difficult, people are scared to do it, especially in this world. What have you learned? What would you tell a younger version of yourself about how to dream fearlessly and bring it alive?
Well, I think like the thing about dreaming fearlessly is really trusting that don't doubt yourself from trying. Like, don't stop yourself from what you believe is going to happen. Let the chips fall where they may. Your best opportunity is really going to come by being in the situation and getting out there. And that was one, like for me, growing up in a single parent household, I was doing really well. I was making good money for a young guy. I was probably 26, 27, making nice money. I got a house, I got a car. But for me to say, like, I believe in comedy, I just came up with a plan. I saved up enough money and I had a strategy to do some shows, and then I had a quit date, and I did it, and I quit on that date.
My son, 15, he on the swim team, so that swim, they be getting you in a different kind of shape. So he all of a sudden, my son out of nowhere got all shoulders and chest. He come walking in the house one day, "What up, Dad?" I said, "Oh no, you might want to put all that up when you walk in the house. Put them shoulders in the closet, put your chest in the drawer. I ain't gonna have all this walk around my goddamn house."
A look back for me, I don't know if I fully know how you broke through and how you think about why you broke through.
My style was very relational. Like I felt like talking to a cousin or looking at an uncle, or, I perform like that where it doesn't feel like, somebody's walking up kind of just telling you these jokes. And I really emulated my style from the late Robin Harris.
Oh man, I loved him.
He was the kind of comedian that when I first saw him and I identified with him, the right television came at the right time for me. Like, and so many of my peers, I would say, we landed in that space where all the guys from my class of comedy, most of us are still around and still doing well. DL, Steve, Jamie, Chris Rock was a little bit ahead of us, but all of us that kind of came in that era where Def Jam was hot. Comic View for me was the one on BET. I made the choice to go to Comic View, and it made me a household name because I was the host. And when I became the host, like in the African-American households, I was known, and that made me a star. And then the Steve Harvey Show, and then the movies. But all of it really kind of stems from the idea that I think that people feel like they know me already, and I use that as a tool.
Who's in your comedy Mount Rushmore?
Robin Harris, Eddie Murphy, Richard Pryor, George Carlin. Love Robin Williams as well. Richard Jennings. He was a favorite comedian of mine growing up, so I would throw him up there somewhere.
Now, have you ever melted down on stage? Have you ever totally bombed?
Oh, a couple of times, man. I remember having a night in St. Louis where when I I was popping, man. Everybody was coming to see me. I was getting it in. And I had a night at a show where it was so bad, I offered people their money back. I was just feeling bad for myself, not expecting people to really want their money back.
They want their money back. I love that.
I was like, oh, for real? Steve, taught me one time, just totally be yourself, man. As much as you want to make them laugh, if they're not laughing at you having a good time, then just rock it that way and just don't even worry about it. So I've learned to do those kind of things on stage to help me, like, whenever you feel like it's going down a horrible rabbit hole to nowhere.
But it is such an opportunity in this life to take the stage as many times as someone like you or Steve does, and to have people paying attention to you, enjoying you, paying their money, looking forward to it. And in a way, when I think about you guys up there, it's also such a responsibility too, because, we're showing up hoping that you're gonna make us feel better.
Yeah, and that's the thing that I think that I always tell young comedians is that you gotta remember that people come here and they paid their money, they've had all kinds of experiences today. Your job is to go up there and entertain them, to go in there and try to embrace that, be your greatest self, and see if you can transfer that to them, to just get people to transform from where they really are in life to this space that's about laughter and joy and a good time. And that's what I believe, what the comedian is supposed to do.
There are some white people that love black people just because they're black. Makes them feel all good on the inside. Hey, I have lots of black friends. I'm a good person. Oh my God, don't you just love Hamilton? Tell me how you feel about Hamilton.
What's the greatest musical of all time?
Oh my God.
Hey, what about Neighborhood? How's that been?
We're going into the 4th season.
Congrats.
It's really great to have this show, man. The whole gentrification thing is very real in our communities.
Yeah.
And so we wanted to be able to tell a story from, what that feels like, that the world is becoming this melting pot, that people are, more and more, living next to each other and side by side. And, that's what, a cohesive world should operate as, that we should be able to learn from and grow with and recognize the differences in each other and still be able to live side by side.
Now, as much as you enjoy it as a comedy, you guys tackle some very, as you said, like, serious cutting edge issues. Has working on the show changed your mind about anything, or did it offer you new perspectives on anything?
Being a guy over 50, I've seen so many things in this world. Like, we attacked the social injustice, in our first episode last season that got us a lot of acclaim.
I'm gonna organize a protest. They want you to fight with this, but you gotta fight with this. Where's Malcolm?
Oh, I thought he was with you.
I'm going back out there.
I'm going with you.
I don't need anybody else I love out there. Come on, Dave.
The main thing is to learn from my white counterparts' kind of perspective and then be able to educate. And I think in these close quarters like this, you're able to give a far more education, like even to the point that, I remember there was a whole thing in that episode about using the term allies, and they wanted to lock on. I said, look, we're not doing that. We're not doing these lock-on terms that kind of justifies or wipes over, all these years of social injustice by saying just because I stand here now, I'm considered an ally, and that gives me this pass.
I'm sorry if I seem racist. Hey man, I'm sorry if I seem racist.
I was like, those are the kind of terms that I believe, how we let people off the hook. We need to really deal with this. We need to really know, like, how did that make you feel that I had the power to tell you no? Did that make you feel something?
I tell y'all a story. I'm walking down the street, see this lady, the white lady, gonna come up to me like, oh my God, I can't believe it's you. You got a little daughter with her. She was like, can we take a picture with you? I'm like, of course, So I take the picture with him. I'm about to leave. I'm walk off. She like, thank you, CeeLo.
What happens when you are in front of all white audiences? Is that a different comedy set and a different relationship for you than when you're in front of mixed audiences?
That's one of the first times that I bombed that I really recall was me trying to change my set for an all-white audience, and I bombed because I went up there and I basically got outside my authentic self and was trying to do what I thought they would like or would relate to. And so I remember that I bombed and Steve walked up there and cussed them out. And I mean, they laughed so hard, Carlos.
Yeah.
They was laughing at him, going off on them. It was like, wow. From that moment on, I recognized like, yo, this is all you got to do in life. Just don't even worry about it. Just ride the train you came in on. It's all good. They don't like that one, then they just don't like it. But don't try to make them like you. That's what I identified with my character in Barbershop. And a lot of people, I had some controversial about it. But what I was tapping into as an actor was that this guy was old enough not to really worry about your opinion about his opinion. Like he didn't care about what you thought about his opinion. And so therefore, he could say what he wanted, and I love that.
You wrong by yourself this time, pal. I ain't with you. I'll tell you one thing. You better never let Jesse Jackson hear you talking about that.
Man, Jesse Jackson.
Jesse,
Randy, Tito, Freddie, action. I'll take them all. Man, I love this place.
Biggest mistake or biggest failure you've had in this life?
Somebody worded this perfectly. I gave up for what I wanted in the long run to get what I wanted right now. And that would be one of those things. I had a plan and I knew that I had this plan and I pivoted on that plan because I accepted what I could get right now. And then that's one of those things that you always go back and you're like, man, if I just would have did it my way, I'd have been way further.
And so you're saying there was a movie or something that you took in the short term instead of maybe a series or a different project that you really wanted?
The movie was The Honeymooners. And the Honeymooners did great, but the movie that I wanted to do would have been a franchise. I know it, and the director I wanted and everything, we would have had a big movie career.
Most beautiful place you've ever been to?
Oh man, Australia, Queensland, the surfer's paradise over there.
Ooh, that sounds beautiful. I've been to Australia, but only to Sydney and Melbourne.
Yeah, you gotta go to their Miami version. It's really pretty over there.
And are you an Airbnb guy or are you a hotel guy?
If I got the whole family going with me, we're gonna get a house and rent a house. We travel pretty heavy and so that it's better for us to have a house and just operate from there.
Hey, I want to hit you with a little bit of rapid fire.
Let's go.
All right. I say Obama, you say what?
Coolest ever.
I say Cleveland, you say what?
Steve Harvey.
I say greatest athlete of all time, you say?
Jordan.
Most interesting book you've ever read?
Monster Cody.
The thing you're most excited about hosting the Emmys?
Mainly, the celebratory energy of the night, man. I feel like television has gotten us through. It's going to be so many wonderful stars out. I just really look forward to giving that vibration off. Is this idea that we're going to be here, really, commending each other and laughing and patting each other on the back for the work that was done.
If you could have dinner with anybody, dead or alive, who would you have dinner with?
Vernon Jordan. Love the swagger of Frederick Douglass. And then, not a real person, but Nucky Thompson from Boardwalk Empire.
I like all three of those. Vernon Jordan, he would send me notes sometimes when I was on the air. He said, don't wear that shirt again. He said, that was a one-time shirt. Hey, Cedric, man, I so appreciate you, and I really appreciate you stopping by.
Yeah, same here, man. I definitely enjoyed this, man. Super cool dude.
Monica, what'd you think?
Cedric is the guy. I mean, who doesn't love Cedric? He's always funny. His line about Halle Berry,
right.
I had a hard time holding it in. I thought that was so funny. Who didn't love Halle Berry? I mean, he says just anything. It's like Cedric is so funny. So he was exactly what I expected him to be. I enjoyed every moment. I wish you guys could have went longer.
I was just saying to my cousins that we were going to have him on the show today. And one of my cousins pointed out, he's the reason why our family has laugh wrinkles. But then he was talking about how he got injections on the fault lines. man.
I found this fascinating conversation, the more fascinating once you guys started talking about race and how hard it is for us to prove that we've always been allies, that we grew up without racism, without seeing color, like we kind of did what we could at the time, but that's not enough. I found this conversation amazing, not because he's this entertainer. I found this conversation amazing because he has a lot to say about a topic that we all really need to be talking about.
Hey, I hope you enjoyed Cedric the Entertainer. How could you not laugh? How could you not enjoy him? Such a good guy, such a relatable guy. Love what he had to say about the honeymooners, trusting your gut, never knowing where that could end up. All kinds of goodness there. Hope you enjoyed him as well. Listen, now as I promised, it's time to introduce you to yet another incredible person. And by the way, an equally incredible program. It's put on by our friends at Hennessy. It's called the Never Stop, Never Settle Society. Recognizes strivers and dreamers who are creating change in the face of diversity. Now, today we're going to shine a light on Mandy Price. She's the co-founder and CEO of Canaries, a company that uses technology and data to improve diversity and inclusion in the workplace. Really incredible company. For more, here's my time with Mandy Price. Hey, Mandy.
Hi. How are you?
Good. How you doing?
Good.
What made you decide to apply to the Never Stop, Never Settle Society?
So one of our teammates saw the application and we were just really, really inspired by Hennessy's commitment to closing the gap for Black entrepreneurs and for addressing a lot of the disparities that we see within our society. So we were honored to be one of the recipients and really, really thankful for the commitment that they're showing towards Black entrepreneurs.
Mandy, take me back. Were you slated to be an entrepreneur from early on?
I never thought I'd be an entrepreneur, but like most entrepreneurs, I was driven by my passion. So when I was practicing law, I was on the Texas Civil Rights Board and did many, many things with respect to promoting social justice issues. And over time, I faced many, many challenges that many women and people of color, and especially Black professionals, face in the workplace. And, I kind of grew up in a lot of programs that teach you how to navigate the workplace. I felt like what we were doing a lot of times was teaching people how to navigate a broken system, a system that we knew that didn't work. And I felt that I don't want to teach these same skills to my children. I want the work environment to be fair for them, not for me to continue to teach them these survival skills that have been passed down from generation to generation. And so that's one of many light bulb moments. But I think as I started to have my children, I wanted the workplace to be different and I wanted it to be fair.
When did you start Canaries?
We started it in 2018. I enjoy it because it's my life's passion and I feel like my purpose in life. Our company is focused on diversity, equity, inclusion issues. And so what we've seen, obviously, within the last year and a half, right, is a fundamental shift when it comes to DEI. So for us, it is a very exciting time, especially when we think about the way we approach DEI is really around helping organizations think about it from a systemic and institutional standpoint. And when we first started the company, we felt like we were speaking a different language than folks. We were talking about measuring equity and inclusion and creating policies and practices to promote inclusion and equity. And people would tell us they had a pipeline problem. And they we just need to recruit. And we feel like people are finally speaking the same language as us.
Who have you found so far really seems to be locked in, really seems to be taking the opportunity seriously and really engaging with you guys in an ambitious way?
We see certain CEOs, certain boards, certain shareholders and investors that have made this a priority for their organizations. And that's really the kind of common thread that we're seeing. But one of the things that, we kind of worked ourselves in a frenzy of thinking this thing only lasts for 6 months or maybe a year. And we're still seeing companies focused on these issues. And we're still seeing boards and shareholders ask about them. And we're still seeing regulations come down, right? SEC has all these different rules and companies like NASDAQ and Goldman Sachs saying, we're not going to take your company public if you don't have diversity on your board. NASDAQ saying if you don't have a certain level of diversity, you can't be listed on our exchange. So we are seeing all the things that are pointing to this isn't a blip, that this is long-standing and it's going to be something that organizations have to pay attention to.
And if everything goes well, 10 years from now, what will be true about canaries? Paint me a vision.
Well, we know DI issues aren't just US issues, they're global issues. And so 10 years from now, we hope to be working with many, many companies across the globe to help ensure that they are creating that inclusive and equitable environment for all their employees, and that DEI is truly elevated with every other business priority, where the idea of measuring and tracking it over multi-years isn't a foreign concept. And so that's our goal, to really ensure that this work continues. Like you said, it's not that blip, but 10 years from now, this will be a no-brainer for companies.
Amen. I hope that happens. Mandy, it was very nice to meet you. Thank you for the work that you're doing, and congratulations.
Thank you so much, Carlos.
Hey, that was Mandy Price. My thanks to her and everyone at Hennessy and the Never Stop, Never Settle Society. Hey, while we're saying our thanks, I want to thank all of you for tuning in. We'll see you next time right here on The Carlos Watson Show. Hey, tune into The Carlos Watson Show. It's like no other. You're going to enjoy it every weekday on YouTube.